Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Barbells and Trails podcast with your hosts, Brett and
co-host Noah. Sorry, I was drinking my coffee.
Brett. No, this man is drinking coffee at 8:30 his time. It is a late recording session tonight, but hey, we're getting it done for you guys. We're trying to get some stuff for you.
Yes. It's been a busy week.
It has. It's been
Tuesday.
It is only Tuesday. So we're recording a little late. Hopefully this goes up when we want, but we'll see what we can do. We actually have a topic this week, so we're gonna kind of talk about finances, budgeting, investing for early teens or late teens, early 20s, people around our age, and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be our first big topic, quote unquote, and then we'll kind of figure out what we want to do a few podcasts down. But I think we were just going to start off a little easy, kind of like normal, do a little week recap. I know something we talked about in the past, and it's still going on, was the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trials. I've seen bits and pieces, and I've seen her crying and that acting.
Have you seen the
on the trial
of her crying?
Oh, I've seen several. I watched part of the video. Like, it was so bad.
She's like, and then I got stung by a bee. And then
I didn't hear.
Made a face.
I didn't hear that. I was seeing where she's like, I know, I just loved him, and I can't believe we're doing this right now because I just felt so bad. And like, yeah, it was some other, like, she was saying this and that, basically like that she didn't want to deal with this, and she never wanted this to happen, and she knew she was in the wrong, and she's sorry. Something else. Fake crying, basically not even crying, just making faces and like breathing heavily, and then I see a camera of Johnny. I saw it. It's so bad. And then I saw the camera pan to Johnny, and Johnny just looks over at his lawyer and he's like, wow, like, okay. So
she slipped up though. I forget what she said, but it was either her or someone on her side. They slipped up and said something they didn't, and the lawyer looked back at someone on the side, and gave him a fist bump. And like, I'm pretty. It's a lot of entertainment.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, to say the least. I guess something else that's kind of been big news this week, which luckily I don't have a lot of money in, but a bunch of people have lost money in crypto. The whole market has basically crashed.
I haven't heard about this.
So. Oh, it's bad. It's worse than the stock market. So part of it is just because the crypto market does follow trends with the regular stock market. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it. Part of the reason is because people sold, and some people were buying on leverage and not buying with actual cash, and were borrowing money to buy stocks, and some people were using it because crypto's done so well. Some people have put a lot of money into it and never necessarily pulled, so then now they're losing like all the money they made in life savings. Some people were using it to pay like mortgage and rent and have lost money. I just saw a tweet the other day from KSI, and he put, I think, $3 million in Luna, and literally, I can't remember when, but now that $3 million is worth $1,000. Luna crashed that bad. Like, I don't know what its price point was, but I think now it's literally worth pennies.
Oh my gosh. Why did it drop so bad?
I really don't know the full reason. I haven't kept up on it too much. I just kind of heard bits and pieces, and I've seen some stuff. I think one reason what caused the market to kind of crash worse was, for some reason, something happened with a certain stable coin which is basically a coin that's supposed to be backed by the US dollar. So no matter what, it's supposed to be worth $1. And for some
Oh,
reason, a stable coin dropped and it got down to like 50 cents. So that'd be like the price of USD, like if just the US dollar's worth just went way down all of a sudden. So it was kind of like that. So then it caused like I think it kind of a chain reaction through the market, but I don't know the reason behind it. That's part of it. I don't know if some of it is something to do with the company itself or what, but I do know a lot of people have lost a shit ton of money.
dude. Dude, I haven't even heard anything about this. I've been living under a rock.
I mean, I don't have a lot of money in crypto. I have a few $100s in crypto. I'm kind of curious. I haven't looked at my stuff. I'm gonna pull this up real quick just because we're talking about it.
I have $0 in crypto.
I mean, my stuff's not looking like it's dropped a lot. I mean, yeah. I mean, it doesn't looks like it. My stuff's not looking like it's dropped a whole lot. But I mean, the only stuff I'm really invested in is Bitcoin and Ethereum, so the two main ones. I mean, Bitcoin right
Mm,
now is $29,000, considering earlier this year is almost 70. It has dropped a
mm,
bunch. Ethereum is only about 2,000. So I mean, those have dropped, but some of those have been down for a little bit now. But it's definitely got worse because I thought last time I looked it was in the 30,000s somewhere. So yeah,
damn.
it's a lot of people have lost some money. But
Well, I guess we can learn don't invest in crypto.
I mean, I think there's definitely, it's nothing we've talked about before. I don't even think personally we've actually talked about it a whole lot. Um, I don't know what to think of crypto. I haven't necessarily looked into it a whole lot. I've watched some stuff on it and some breakdowns. I think there is a future for it, but I think there's just, especially with how the market is and how stuff's set up now, there's just so many random coins and whatever else that just kind of people will like rug pull on it, promote it, and then just sell and make a fuck ton of money. So like that's why if I'm ever gonna invest in crypto, I'm just gonna go with basically Bitcoin and Ethereum because those are like the two solid ones that have been around for almost 10 years now and probably aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And if there's a future in crypto, it's probably going to be between those two in particular.
Yeah,
So
see, here's
that's how I feel on it.
my 2 cents on it is that so I've listened and talked to a lot of like pretty wealthy and rich people, and all of them, um, basically all of them say like just stay away from crypto, and like because I feel like it's an um easy way to make big money fast if you do it right, and if you get lucky, like it's lucky money. But like
Yeah,
long
yeah.
term, I don't see it being like a good investment. Like there's
I
just too much risk
true.
involved.
There is more risk than like the regular stock market, but some of it's kind of very similar to certain things in the stock market. If you go for certain penny stocks or something really low, every once in a while shit will skyrocket. So it might be really cheap, so you can buy a lot of stocks and then make a bunch of money off of it really quickly. So I mean, it kind of the same thing happens in the stock market as well. But I think part of it is it's still so new that only within the past like year and a half has it become a larger topic for
Mm,
like in the mainstream. So like more people have gotten into it, so that means more money's gotten into it. At the same
mm-hmm.
time, that means people are more likely to lose money and more likely to make a lot of money. So like there's definitely that push and pull of just more people being in the market. Um, I think the technology and some of the stuff that I've heard behind it and some of the stuff you can do with the technology that makes cryptocurrency work is pretty interesting. I feel like it's eventually going to be used in certain stuff. Like something that's simple is like I feel like eventually that's going to be a way for concert tickets and that stuff to be sold and do stuff that way. NFTs is the thing I don't understand the most. Um, like I guess, but I mean it is at one point a form of art that's basically authentic and there's no way to basically with how the technology works, there's no way to fake it. Like if someone made it and they mint it and they make it on the blockchain, there's no way to fake that that's not the original. Like unlike actual art,
Yes.
there's no way to like you can make a fake Da Vinci or something and try selling it. Obviously, if it's a Da Vinci, that's kind of hard to get by, but you know what I mean. Like people have done that.
I feel
like
like give it time and someone's going to figure it out eventually.
that's the thing. I
Figure
don't know a
out that
whole lot about it, but that's why it's
I
like
don't either.
if I'm gonna invest in anything, and for what I've heard, if there's anything that is gonna be long term, I think it's definitely gonna be between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's why that's basically all I own. I think I own a little
Yeah,
bit of Solana. But other than that, those are like all I own. I'm not risking my money on that. you
I don't
only
blame you.
you only ever want to put money in that you're willing to lose, and I'm not willing to lose a bunch of money on crypto in particular. But
Yeah, I'm at a place where I'm not willing. I can't really risk losing anything because, I mean, I'm a broke college student.
yeah, the market has not been super kind recently,
No,
but
it has
hey,
not.
it is what it is. We'll get to that a little later. But I guess segue. Speaking of KSI and his crypto, him and Logan Paul have a drink company. It's been out for a few months now. I don't know if you've actually ever tried it, but it's Prime
I have
Hydration.
not.
Okay,
I've heard about it. I remember you telling me a lot about it,
so
and it
I
sounded good.
it is good. I've had it. I've had a few flavors. I haven't been able to try them all because when they first launched, they sold out in an hour. And I
Dang.
think even though they've only been officially started within the past couple months, they've sold they've sold over several, I think it was several million bottles to companies before they even went public. And so at this point they've sold probably tens of millions. But I think
Dang.
just this week, they just now are shipping to the UK. So that's been something they've been working on, considering that's where KSI is based out of.
Hmm.
And they came out with a new flavor already, and it's ice pop. So it's like
Ooh.
the red, white, and blue popsicles that you
Yeah.
get as a kid. That
Yeah.
was what they based it off of, and they made an ice
Ooh,
pop
that
flavor.
sounds good.
And both in the UK and in the US, it sold out the first day.
What's the macros on it?
I mean, I don't think there's really any protein in it, but I don't know exactly the macros off the top of my head. I did order some. I didn't get the new flavor because I'm pretty sure it's already sold out, but they did have their website restocked, so I did get a few cases of a few of their flavors.
Okay.
Um, but I think I mean, it's a pretty cool drink. I think its best comparison and what it is kind of like body armor, except
Okay.
with basically no sugar and barely any calories in comparison. Because you can drink a body
Yeah.
armor and it has like 300 calories or something ridiculous if you drink the
And
whole
so much
bottle.
sugar.
Yeah.
So much sugar.
So I think it's like 10% coconut water. You got your BCAAs in there. You got other electrolytes and whatever else. I think they have 5 flavors. I think it's like 20 calories, no added sugars or coloring or anything like that.
Mm.
And I mean, it's pretty good. I'm trying to think what the best comparison is. Like, it's definitely better than Gatorade. I feel like with what it has in it and taste wise, and
Is it
let
like
alone it's
Propel?
hardly any calories. It's
Because
stronger tasting than Propel. Like it has
okay.
considering there's not a lot of sugar and calories in it. It is a pretty strong beverage. It's not like super watered down. Like it definitely has flavor to it, but it's not
Hmm.
bad. It's not bad. But yeah, they've been doing pretty well. I mean, it was, I've only tried a few of their flavors, so when I saw that they had some on their website, I was like, oh, I might have to buy a few. But
I'll have to try them. I'll have to try to find where they sell them.
check
At least here.
maybe.
Because they
Yeah, I
don't
don't
sell
know.
them in Walmart
I mean,
or
they're
anywhere.
supposed to be selling them at Walmart, but I don't know. Obviously, with your
But my
situation,
Walmart is slacking.
yeah. I know they have them at some GNCs or vitamin shops. Um,
Yeah, they don't have them at the vitamin shops, but I haven't been in one in a while, so maybe they restocked it. I don't know.
And then not only that, but also something that I guess actually technically happened last week. Um, but I don't know if you would have heard about this because you're not in Indiana at the moment. So it's kind of a topic. I actually heard about it on another podcast. Didn't know a whole lot about it. And then kind of heard more and realized that it was actually, I mean, it wasn't local, but there was a prison escape last week.
In
And
Indiana?
no, I think it was actually from Alabama. Let me something along those lines. So okay, so the thing is that they ended up in Indiana. So the whole backstory behind it was this guy, I'm pretty sure, was on a life sentence or death row for a murder, and
Ooh.
basically a security guard, or what are they called? Security guard. There's different words, but you know what I mean.
No idea.
Uh,
I think I know
this
what you mean.
this chick fell in love with him or something,
Oh.
and I think they hooked up while he was in prison,
Oh, wait,
and
yeah,
she
I heard
broke
about
him out.
this. I
Yeah,
heard about this, yeah. It's
yeah. So
crazy.
this happened. Okay, so she was 56, and she broke him out of jail. Don't know what his name is. It was Vicky White and man, what is his name?
I'll look it up.
I can't find his name anywhere. Why can't I find his name? So okay, so she, I guess, fell in love with him, something along those lines. She broke him out of prison. Beforehand, she already knew what she was going to do. She sold her house so they had a bunch of money and broke him out of prison and was on the run. And they made their way up to Evansville, and that's when they kind of got caught by police. So the pair led a federal and local law enforcement on a multi-state manhunt that lasted 11 days. After gaining intel, the couple was staying in a local Motel 41. Police who were surveilling the building spotted the pair leaving, and a police chase ensued. And Vanderbilt County Sheriff Dave Wedding said on Tuesday. So, I mean, we know people from that county. I mean, I've been through Evansville a few times. That's only a few hours south of me. And so it led into a shootout, whatever else. And I think they got the prisoner, and she ended up committing suicide. And she shot herself
Oh,
with a
man.
pistol. Yeah.
Dang. That's
And
unfortunate.
this all happened in or outside of Evansville, just the other day. I think last Monday, or not even that.
Dude, the guy, I'm looking at a picture of him. He has some big ears.
Yeah. So
Where
okay,
was he?
so here's some more. He was extradited from Indiana to Florence, Alabama, where he appeared before a judge before he was transferred to William E. Dunson Correctional Facility. In the months before the escape, Vicky sold her home for about half of what she could have gotten and alleged had about $90,000 in cash when she and Casey fled. April 29th was due to be her last day before retirement. So she was going to retire, and then she decided to do this and break him out of prison. And
That
he
is
was
one
facing
heck of a
charges
way to go.
so he's facing charges including forgery, identity theft, permitting and aiding an escape, or she is, or yeah, she is. But I guess she's dead now, so I don't think that matters. Yeah, that's what she was
Yes.
facing. But yeah, so this all happened, and I actually thought when I first read about it, I thought this happened in Evansville. Like I thought they were from Evansville, and I was like, oh crap, something's actually happening in our state. That's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. We're getting put on the map.
Yeah, a
Maybe not
little
in the
bit.
best way, but
No, makes it interesting.
I mean, at least we got something to talk about besides corn and soybeans and Some windmills.
True. I mean, hey, we are the meth supplier for the country, so
We
big up
are.
Indiana. Yeah, you didn't know that?
I
It's
bet it
weird.
comes from Anderson, doesn't it?
It comes from basically everywhere in Indiana.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Indiana is the meth capital of the country.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Man,
we are the number one for meth labs and number one for high school basketball players.
I have so much to brag about now. When people ask me where I'm from, I'm like,
Be like,
listen, I am from the meth capital of the world.
we
We also have some
have
pretty good
the
basketball
best.
players, but
We,
meth.
we have the best meth.
Oh
Just
gosh.
want to let you know if you ever go to Indiana.
You
Just,
gotta try this.
I mean, I know. I mean, I've seen a few busts where we live. I saw a raid in our town. One time, I just happened to be
Really?
in town. I was at someone's house, and it was like down the road. I don't think anybody was at the property, but they busted down the door and searched the property. I think even at one point there was a place the kid got off and on the bus that I rode on, and his parents got busted, and they had a meth lab in their back barn or something.
Oh,
So
dude,
his
that poor
parents got
kid.
arrested, and he was stuck living with his grandmother, which lived at that place. But yeah, so they were cooking meth on the property, and we drove past it every day.
That is no bueno.
And
That is
honestly, I don't think you know this. It was literally like a mile and a half from your house.
really,
Yeah.
dude. I had no idea.
Uh-huh.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
this would have been years ago, but yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember they once found meth in a local farmer's field. That was a big thing because that
You
hardly
mean
grain.
weed?
No, I think it was meth. They
I don't
found a
know.
meth kit.
A meth
They
kit?
like they found something to do with meth. It wasn't weed.
I mean, it could have
They
been
found
like a, I don't know, like a pipe,
it was
and,
something.
and they're smoking
It
meth.
was it was like either bags of meth or some kind of I don't know. I don't know much about drugs. I'm homeschooled. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's a great excuse. You live in Oregon. Come on.
still like sometimes people will say stuff about drugs and I'll be like,
You're like, I don't
"What?"
even. You're like, I don't even understand what that is. Like,
Like today I found out that Molly, I
uh huh.
didn't I was like, "Who's she?" But no, like Molly, I didn't know, but I didn't even know what it did, but it doesn't makes you like not feel pain. And so like people take it at ragers
I
um,
mean,
to like
yeah.
dance forever. I had
I
no idea.
I mean,
So I
I
was
don't
like,
know
why
if
don't we
it's
take it
not.
before we run?
I don't know if
Because
it's
then we could
necessarily
just run
not.
forever.
I don't know if it's technically not to feel pain, but I don't.
Well,
I mean,
again, I'm homeschooled, so
if you're really gonna try it for a race, I mean, go for it. But I
I
don't know
guess
if I
we'll see.
would. I don't know if I would recommend that one. But
I'm gonna come up with a new pre-workout.
yeah,
Just
and it's just
just
gonna. Okay.
I'll just
And
call it Indiana's pre-workout.
well, yeah, just throw some meth in there. For what I've heard,
That's what I'm
it's
saying. It's just gonna
bro.
be math. It's not
I
like
mean,
that's it.
for what I've heard, it seems like meth heads are actually pretty productive. Like most meth heads, like when they get high, they're on a bender. They'll like clean and do everything else. Like some people go and work, and they're very productive meth heads. But then there
Yeah,
are others
so
that aren't. It's
one
very
of the guys
interesting.
that tattooed me, he was from New York, and he was telling me about him growing up. He worked a ton of jobs with methods, and
Oh, okay.
methods were the busiest people ever. Cause
Yeah,
like,
because they have so much energy. It's like they become OCD and ADHD combined, so they just gotta like keep going. Like they kind of
they wanted
tw- they
money to buy more meth, and so they worked nonstop, and then they would just
I mean they kind of tweak out, to be honest,
wait.
and
So
then they just keep
meth,
going.
I don't even know if we're like we should talk about this on a podcast, but like the meth, do you smoke it, inject
Yeah,
it,
you smoke
sniff
it. I
it?
mean, I think
I don't know.
honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I think you could probably do all three. But I'm pretty sure the main way is smoking it. I mean, like crack is cocaine that you smoke, and when you smoke, it crackles. That's why it's called crack. And it's
Oh, I
cheap
didn't know
cocaine.
that. I had
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah.
Man, I'm learning so much about drugs right now.
I was gonna say, speaking of drugs, I'm not gonna get into this story, but I think next week something we could definitely do. We mentioned it a little bit in the last podcast.
Two?
Was to
I'm not
no,
doing
not
drugs.
no, no, no. Was to talk about our little adventures out in Oregon and talk about maybe the tweaker we ran into. I'm not going to go
Oh
into
my
it today,
gosh, yeah.
but we'll just leave that as a hint to a story on the next podcast. But yeah, that could
That
be
was
something we talk about.
interesting time.
That was pretty interesting. But
That was something.
well, I think that's everything I know about for the week. I haven't been keeping up on too much stuff, but hey, that's some pretty interesting stuff, I think.
I would say so. Pretty
All
fun.
right. Well,
Before
if that's
we jump
it,
into our main
yeah,
topic, I think we should
yeah.
take a bathroom break, and my chicken just got done.
Okay,
So,
that's fine. We'll take a quick pee break. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, what's up, everybody? We're back. We were relieved our bladders, but okay, so let's get into it. So today's topic is gonna kind of be over finance, and just, I guess, early finance for young people in particular, because I mean that's the best way to start, is just to start early, and that is something we will kind of go over. And it's a topic that I've gotten into a lot more over in the past year and am pretty interested in. So I thought it'd be fun for us to kind of talk about it a bit and go over just some of the basics for someone in their late teens, early 20s. It applies for everybody, but definitely applies for anyone that's just getting started into life, to keep some of this stuff in mind, to kind of help kickstart their financial journey, to hopefully financial freedom or independence. So I guess the first thing I think we were going to talk about a little bit was something that's always, I feel like, is pretty important. Noah doesn't necessarily feel the same.
we definitely disagree on this, but let's get into it.
But credit score, credit cards, I think that especially for someone that's just turning 18, it's something very, very good to get started young, so it has time to build up. I just got my first credit card about a year ago, so I was actually a little later to the party. I know that definitely the generation above us in particular was, so our parents or millennials were definitely talked away from credit cards a lot more than we were, I would say, overall, just because some of the first people that ended up with credit cards did not use them wisely. So it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So I know that they definitely get a bad rap, but I don't necessarily think they are.
I would say.
I mean,
opposite.
you're good.
One second, I'm eating my
Oh.
chicken.
Oh.
I haven't had dinner yet. So,
Okay.
with credit score, I feel like it's easier to. A credit card can get you into a hole really easily. Like, if you miss a payment, you can be screwed. So, I mean, I think there's both pros and cons to having a credit card, and I think having it at the right time is wise. But it's also like you don't need a credit score to, buy a house, buy a car,
No. I mean,
get a job.
I mean, there
And
are.
I feel like that's what a lot of credit card companies do to get people to get a credit card, is to say you need this to buy a house. Like, no, there's a lot of ways around.
Yeah,
Like
no,
having.
I think, no, I can agree on that. I don't think it's necessarily a need. I think it is definitely can be beneficial with getting a mortgage or a car loan, or just having low interest rate on anything you're trying to do, depending on what you're doing, especially for a mortgage in particular, being able, just by having a good credit score, to possibly lower your interest rate by 1% or even 0.5%, in the long run can save you tens of thousands of dollars on your house. So I mean, that's kind of the main upside. And I know what you mean when it comes to, like, you can dig yourself a hole, but it
Mm-hmm.
definitely depends on the person. And I'm not saying get a credit card and only use a credit card. Honestly, the best way to use a credit card is to have one and hardly use it, but only use it on small purchases or small stuff every month, just to have something on the card and pay off. Because all you want to do is necessarily show that you have a history of paying stuff off in time, because that's what the banks, that's what they're looking at, is basically, are you a trustworthy person for us to give you money? Oh, you've paid off everything. Okay, we like you. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of why I got started with it. I mean, especially when I realized the benefits that it could have on, especially buying a house, or possibly later down on the road getting a business loan, or anything along those lines. Because if you have a good credit score and you start young, by the end of your life it could save you, depending on what you do and some of your money choices and investments throughout your life, it could possibly save you hundreds of thousands of dollars on stuff in the long term.
I mean, yeah, you have a point in that, and I think just being wise about a credit card is a tool, and you can either use a tool wisely or unwisely.
It's like
And
fire, you know. Like, fire can
yeah,
both be beautiful and useful, and can be a blessing, but at the same time, if you're not careful with it, you can burn down your house.
yes. And so being wise at that and knowing that if you get a credit card and it has, I don't know, like they tell you $10,000 limit or what, that does not mean you have automatically $10,000 to spend. Like,
No.
use it smart, use it wisely. And I feel like a lot of young people fall into the trap of like they get a card, someone tells them that they have $10,000 on it, and they try to spend $10,000 on it. And it gets them in a whole giant mess that they try to get out of, like,
Exactly. I
for
feel
a
like,
long, long time.
if anything, the reason why there's issues with credit cards, I think, is the lack of education. Because I know, like,
Mm-hmm.
even in public school, it was never really talked about. Like, I even remember in elementary school when we first talked about it, someone saying credit cards are the devil. So for a long time, I had a negative opinion on credit cards. And then I kind of looked into it a little more, kind of learned how they do it, that you don't have to spin the whole thing. You don't got to do this and that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. Like, I can literally get the same benefits and have a higher score, technically, if I literally get a credit card. And I could just buy a pack of gum once a month with it and pay it off, and I would still boost my score. And, like, that's a good enough upside, and that's all I would have to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I want to kind of go over some of the easy ways to, I guess, open a credit card if someone is curious. The one I started with is the Discovered Secured Card. It's definitely, I feel like, the easiest. So it's one where, for someone that doesn't have a credit history, um, basically you put in the money you put in at the start is what you get as a credit limit. So basically, you can put in $200, and then that's what your credit limit is. And then after, I think, 8 months of your credit history and paying on time, you then get that deposit back. So that's basically like their way of making sure that they're not just loaning money out to anybody and getting screwed over, and it gets you started on making that. So, like, now I've had my secured card for over a year because I've had it through Discover. I actually got an upgrade after so long, and my credit limit has went up now to over $2,000. When I originally started with the secured card, and it was only a $200 limit. So,
Hmm. Have you seen
um,
the? This might be a little
hmm,
off track, but
no, you're good.
I just saw this. It was an ad for. It was a credit card and a debit card, and so like you swiped it and like it paid with credit and then automatically took like the money out of your debit account and like checking account and like put it towards the checking. So like I was like, whoa,
I
that's kind of smart.
I think there's a few like that. I haven't looked into it, but I think I've seen the one you're talking about, and I think those work fine. Um,
I didn't even look into it, but
yeah, like so
at first look,
basically,
I'm like, ooh,
like that. So the 5 ways that credit card or not credit card companies, but like the credit bureaus or whatever, like I can't even think of the names. All of a sudden, TransUnion or whatever, like the way they build your credit score. Um, is the 5 things that they base it off of is your credit utilization. So basically, if you have $1,000 limit, how much of that $1,000 do you use every month? And it's best for you to probably stay below 15%, or have a 15% or less on your utilization. So like
God,
technically, the
yeah,
best thing for me when I had the $200 limit was literally to spend like maybe a max of $20, and that like would help boost my score the quickest. So technically it hurts you if you do max out your cards when it comes to your score. Not only that, but the interest rates if you do hold balance is like 23% or something
oh,
crazy.
yeah,
And then another one is on-time payments. So just paying on time in full is another thing that they look at just to make sure you're paying your bill. And technically, eventually, if you get to the point where you have multiple lines of credit and you make online payments that whole time, the ratio of everything goes up. So like instead of just having one line, one credit card, and let's say you miss 1 month out of the 12, that means your percent of like on-time payments is I don't know the percentage of 1 to 12. My brain is just shut off, but
no, you're good. It's like midnight over there for you.
so let's say if it was only 10-month history, if you did 1 out of
Mm,
10 and you missed it, that'd be 10% because technically you've had 10 payments, and if you missed one late, you've had a 10% like or 90% on-time payment. So that's not necessarily super good. But if you have, let's say, 3 credit cards, so in that same 10 months, you technically have 30 payments, and then you miss one, that's only like a 3% down. So it's like a 97% on-time payment rate. So over time, the longer you have it and whatever else, if you do happen to miss a payment, it won't have as large as an effect on your score. The worst part to do that
God,
is the beginning of having a credit card because it will definitely have the largest effect. But if it's been 20, 30 years or something, you've done good and then you miss like one, it's probably not hardly going to do anything.
hmm.
So, I mean, credit cards is definitely like you just got to learn how to basically use the system for your benefit. Like you
Yeah,
said, you don't want to go crazy and go spend all your money on a credit
no,
card
just buy a
and spend more than you
pack of gum
make.
like
Like
once a
that's
month, like you said, like a pack of gum a month. I guess like that would that would
or
raise your credit. I still personally, I probably won't get a credit card for a while,
or even like
and
filling up your gas tank once. Like
yeah, even that is just yeah. It's definitely benefits, but there's also you know cons to it as well.
yeah, there's always risk and reward to
Hmm.
anything in finance, and it definitely depends on the person. If there's someone that has some sort of shopping addiction, yeah, they probably shouldn't have a credit card because they're probably not a
No,
good match. But
it
part of
will
it is just
buy
building up
everything
good
in
habits.
Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, so okay, so that's 2 out of the 5. The other thing they use is your credit history. So basically, how long you've had lines of credit. So like mine, technically right now, I have 4 credit cards, but technically my credit history is only like 10 months
Hmm.
average because I had one now for just over a year, but a couple of them I've only technically had for like 5 months. So basically, it averages out from all your lines of credit, your average history of credit. So basically, the longer the history, the better. So obviously, for
Hmm.
someone young, it's gonna that has a decent effect on your score. But for someone that just started, you're not going to have a long credit history. That's just how it is. But the whole point is, if you start in your early 20s, late teens, most people probably aren't looking to buy a house until they're in their 30s. So if you do that now and you start the benefits of this, by the time you get to look to buy a house, you might have a credit score of 780 or something, and you can get some of the lowest interest rates available to you. So that's kind of like the whole point of doing it. At least that's how I look at it. And then
that's a pretty good way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, it is nice every now and again if there's something I need. I guess I do use it a little bit at times for the benefits on like cash back. I mean, that's not the only thing I necessarily look at, but that is another plus side to some of it. Depending on if I get gas or whatever else, I might get 2 or 3% cash back that I wouldn't get using my debit card. So technically, I am saving money or making money. I don't know. It's hard to. Because if it's money I was already planning on spending on like groceries or filling up my gas tank or whatever else, using a credit card on that, I don't necessarily see an issue because it was something I was already going to spend anyways. It's more when you go out and just spend it on absolutely anything that definitely becomes an issue. We're like, oh yeah, I want a new TV. I just got a new credit card. Let's go buy a TV on the credit card. Like, that's not a good idea.
Stupid. No, that's a
you don't need a TV. You're fine.
No. I don't even know if when I buy a house, if I'll buy a TV. I never use a TV.
Honestly, I mean, I do every now and again, but not very often, honestly. So I guess number 4, if we're still going on that, hard inquiries. So inquiries are basically like when you sign up for a credit card or to get a loan or something, is basically when someone looks up your credit score that pops up on your record to basically be like, oh, this place was looking into your credit score. And technically it's bad if you have a lot of inquiries because to them it looks like, oh, this person's trying to get a bunch of credit. He needs money. Why is he applying or doing this to a bunch of different companies? But I think it's after 8 to 12 months, the inquiries get taken off. So it's only a short-term effect on that. And it doesn't have necessarily a large effect on your overall credit score. And then you have total accounts or the diversity of accounts. So technically, the more accounts you have, or if you have a few credit cards and an auto loan and a mortgage or whatever else, technically the more of those you have, the better, because it means more history. If you pay them all on time, it does have an impact because it's like, oh, this man has several lines of credit and a bunch of different things, but he's pretty good because he's still paying all of it. So we like him. So I guess that's kind of like the 5 ways they monitor your credit score. I mean, I've only had a credit card for over a year. I did technically have an auto loan in high school because my parents co-signed on my vehicle. So I have a credit score of about 750. So for someone that's 21, not 21. I'll be 21 next fall. What? Next Friday. Not this Friday, next Friday.
No, I'm not going to forget.
But for someone my age to have that credit score, that's pretty good. So I can already kind of get some of the lower interest rates when it comes to possibly getting a mortgage or something if I really wanted to.
Bet. That's going to be pretty cool.
I mean, I know you are definitely a fan of Dave Ramsey.
I love Dave Ramsey. He's my guy. He's my best friend.
He's your guy. And I mean, I like him. I don't think he necessarily has a lot of financial issues. Like, the stuff he preaches is good. Like, it's not good to have a lot of bad debt or anything like that. But I think there can definitely be upsides to a loan or borrowing money at one point or another. It just depends on the situation and the reason behind it. And if you know what you're doing.
It's the same as like having a credit card. Like, you have to do it smart. Like, there's a smart way and a stupid way to do it. And like, I don't have, like, I know how to do it the smart way, but I don't know how. I'm not smart enough to put it into words. Like other people are way smarter than me and can explain it a lot better. But like, there's a good way to take out a loan and a bad way.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And depending on what you're doing, sometimes it is worth it, because depending on what you're investing in or what it is, sometimes something you got to look at that isn't necessarily something most people consider is depending on what it is. If you're taking out a loan, and let's say depending on whatever you're taking your loan out, you have an interest rate of 4%, depending on if
Mm-hmm.
that's a mortgage, that's a little higher, or at least right
Mm-hmm.
now. Most of the time, if it is into some sort of asset that you're using that money to purchase, you're probably going to get a better return on your money than you would if you didn't. So technically, you might have a 4% interest rate, but depending, you might get a 7% or more yield depending on what you're investing in. So you're making more money to then pay for the interest rate and still make money off of it. So it's not necessarily an issue.
Mm.
Like, a lot of rich people borrow on assets, because if you borrow on assets, that means no matter what, the bank knows that they can get money from you if they need it, because there is an asset you sign into the loan. So if you can't pay your loan, they will take that asset. So if you do that, it's backed. So they'll give you a super low interest rate, maybe at like 2%. So then if you then go use that money to buy a house or invest, and you average a 7% return, you're, even after the interest rate, you're getting 5% back and making more money than you would have without taking that loan out to then invest.
Got it.
So it's
Yeah.
like a
I
snowball
mean,
effect
with
of what
loan,
you can do. Obviously, you got to
I
be aware and understand
yeah,
the
and I feel
components
like
of
you
it. But
need to be smart on what you're taking loans out. Like with cars, and I think we're going to disagree on this one, but I really believe you should always pay for a car in cash. Like that is just the best way.
no, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you. It just depends on people's financial situations. Um, because I guess with me personally, it's like I could, in certain cases, someone might be able to have the cash to buy a car, but I think some people would rather maybe take some of that money to then just put a down payment on the car, so they still have some money in cash in case of some emergency, instead of taking all the cash they have to then go buy
Yeah,
a
but like,
car.
okay, say someone has like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Well, you can find a car for 2 grand. Like, you don't have to buy the newest car. Like, buy an old car that just gets you from point A to point B. And there you go. You can take 2 grand out in cash, pay for the car, and you still got 8 grand. And that's just like, I just feel like that's the smartest move when buying a car. Unless you own a business and you can buy a car and put down a lot of money, but then just all the miles that you put on that car, you can write it off as a business expense. Um, and
Hmm.
yeah,
No, I mean, no, that's fair. I mean, I uh I guess I agree with that. For the most part, I mean, I get that. I guess it just depends on the situation, because sometimes, depending on what it is, and if you can lock in for certain things, if you can lock in a super low interest rate on something and have a low payment, and depending on the situation, sometimes it's worth taking out the loan, because you might have a monthly payment, but then you can still take a lot of money and save that money to then put in investing and make more money off of it. So it just kind of depends on the situation, on what you can afford. It's kind of the same thing on like a mortgage, taking a 30-year over a 15-year mortgage. Yeah, you'll pay more interest in a 30-year mortgage over time, but if you take the difference between the payment between a 30 and 15-year mortgage, and then you invest that difference in that same amount of time, you will make more money than you would have spent in interest than the other way. Like I've watched some videos on that, and I've seen some of the math breakdowns on, depending on the interest rate and whatever else. So that is something for someone to look into. But so that's kind of like the thing. It just depends on what you're trying to do and if you're investing the difference. If you're not going to invest that money to try making more, then yeah, I guess that's fair. Just buy it outright. But it just kind of depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
But so in general, some of the stuff we were going to talk about was just best ways to build wealth or kind of set up a starting point for someone in their 20s. And some of the stuff that I feel like we would kind of agree on, which is good for anybody, is I guess number one is just I guess building or getting job experience. Just getting into different jobs and kind of figuring out what you want to do in life, and just learning different pieces of business or being in different industries is always good. A good start in your early 20s, because if you figure that out within that 10 years, I mean, you still have 40 years of working possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to like stay at a job for 3 to 6 months. If you enjoy it, stay longer. If you don't, then leave, but stay for those like few months so you can get that experience and get a job that um Monday through Friday, but you get the weekends off. So in the weekends, you can build what we'll talk about here in a little bit, like side income. You can build your assets, which is that's like one way a lot of people are able to retire really early, like 30, like 30s and 40s, because they work the Monday through Friday and they get a really good side income and really good build a really good asset with investments, and they do it smart and they build up a really big income that gives them more time and lets them retire when they're like 27 or 30.
No, yeah, 100%. I don't think anybody should necessarily do a job that they don't enjoy. I think you and me are both kind of in those situations, and I've had several different jobs in different industries. I've worked in service. I've worked in, technically all of them are technically a service industry, but different different industries in amongst themselves on category. So I've kind of seen some of the things like both like and dislike and whatever else. So I've kind of been able to build a better volume of what I enjoy doing and what I don't want to do. So, I mean, there's always that thing that it's always good just to get out there and get experience, figure out what you want to do while you're young, to work more hours, figure out and bust your butt to kind of figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. Because if you're going to do that, it's always best to do that young before you settle and kind of get into a situation. Because if you try doing the same thing when you're a little older, which just kind of relates to the next thing, which is just starting a business young, it's definitely a lot easier to take the risk and start a business in your 20s than it is when you're in your 40s and you have a mortgage and kids and a family to take care of. Yeah. Taking a risk like that is a lot harder for, I would say, anyone to ever take than if someone was 22 and had a business venture and just went for it. There's a lot more time if it doesn't succeed, that you still have plenty of time in your life to get back on track and be fine. Just because the amount of time you have before you would possibly retire, that it's not going to set you back necessarily. If anything, it'll just be a learning experience.
I agree, like 1,000%. Like, you're right.
I was going to say, I don't think there is such a thing, I guess, in my book as failure. I've kind of realized that. It's like, even on times that I know. Well, I mean, I do, but
there's one way to fail, and that is just to completely give up.
Well, like, that's fair.
Failure.
Well, depending on certain situations, failing isn't like, you don't necessarily give up, but sometimes stuff just doesn't work, so you can't, like, it's just stuff doesn't work out, so you move on to something else.
Like if you start a business and it fails, um, then but if you then go start like you stop that and then you go start up another business, that's not failure. You're just
Yeah.
you're trying to
Well, I
just
wouldn't
do
consider
something
that
different.
giving up.
Yeah, that's
Like,
not giving
yeah,
up at
no,
all.
yeah,
That's
no.
just
You got to
trying to switch
readjust.
lanes and
Yeah.
figure out which one works.
No, 100%. It's like you realize your mistakes and then you readjust. And that's kind of what I feel
Hmm.
like is like failure isn't necessarily something that's bad. It's like it's a learning opportunity to basically be like, oh, okay, so I see what I did wrong here.
Yeah.
I see the things I've done. This is what I can do better. And then you take that into a different experience. So it's like if you do
Hmm.
have, let's say, a business that fails, you learn what you did wrong. Even if you go into another business, you have that experience and that time and stuff you
Hmm.
have already learned to then bring to the table somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, and another thing to do in your 20s that's a great way to build wealth is investing. Uh, Noah has not necessarily invested yet.
Yeah,
You haven't, have
yeah.
you?
I plan to. I plan to. It's I need to find like I just put my 2 weeks in at the job I'm doing, but the next job that I do, I gotta figure out what that is. But I just need a steady income. Like I don't have a steady
No, yeah,
income
no, that's
for
true.
many months. I just lived off of savings and like I didn't feel comfortable like I wasn't making anything, so I didn't feel comfortable taking out of my savings and putting into investments. But eventually, and next year, I do plan on starting to invest in a couple things.
No, 100%. I agree. I would not in your situation. I would not necessarily invest a whole lot either. Um,
Yeah, no, it's not like
it doesn't make
it's
sense.
not. It doesn't make sense. It's like I'm not making anything to invest,
Hmm.
and it would just be such a giant risk to take out of savings and put into investments. At least in my mind.
Yeah, no. Investing in general is so good. It's definitely probably the best. It's been proven to be the best way to grow your
Hmm.
wealth over the long term. Uh, and it's something that's not necessarily taught in schools necessarily. I mean, they talk about, I guess, retirement funds and 401ks a little bit, but it's so the stuff they talk about is so piss poor. Like they don't go into it very specifically and
Hmm.
actually break down what it is and what it involves. But yeah, it's risky at one point or another depending on what you invest in. But
Hmm.
there's definitely stuff you can do that is you can mitigate your risks, and it is something at one point you got to get used to on your own, just with regular market fluctuations. Like I haven't been investing that long, but I'm already like content with it because I know that nothing lasts forever when it comes to the stock market and its trends. Um, so like even right now, I think my retirement account's probably negative at least $1,000, if not more.
Dang.
Um,
Oh no.
so I mean that I've already been, I guess, not numb, but it's something I've gotten more used to. Um, just that in general, like it's definitely something that over time you'll just understand better.
Definitely. I hope to start investing in let's say um September. Hopefully in September I can start investing. I'll set that
And
goal
the
for myself.
and 100% the best thing to invest in when it comes to just overall stuff is index funds. Just because they're probably the safest investment um, overall, and it's been proven by several studies to be
Hmm.
like the best investment you can make. Um,
Yeah.
just because it's like I think there's been studies to show that over a 10-year period, it always beats the active trading investor from like Wall Street. So
Hmm.
it's been proven over time to always outpace active traders, which are basically just going through and trading very often on certain stuff and whatever else. But basically, what an index fund is just a bunch of stocks. Basically, you can do total
Hmm.
stock market index funds, where it's a little bit of every company all at one price. And so, depending on what it is, it could be like 20 bucks to buy one stock of it. So that $20 gets split into 3,000 companies, or that's what you're buying shares of, is three pieces of 3,000 different companies. But others, depending on what it is, like the VTI or something, that one, it's a
Hmm.
lot higher priced, but you can obviously fractional buy on shares. So index funds, though, are definitely the safest just because they track everything in the market.
Yeah. It, yeah. I haven't looked into it too much, but that's definitely what I'll start investing in from
It's a
September.
in September, but it's definitely a lot better to do that instead of trying to pick and choose individual stocks, just because that's where the risk is, because you don't know what a certain company is going to do. And most of the time, if you do buy an index fund, you're getting a piece of whatever stock you wanted no matter what. So if they do go up, you're getting that upside. And if one company goes down, because there's so many and it's diverse, it won't affect the overall price of that index as much. So it's definitely something that is definitely probably the smartest and easiest thing to invest and look into.
Yes, definitely.
It's something else to definitely do in your 20s is live like you're broke. Um, Saving a
I'm
bunch of
really good at
money.
that.
Yeah,
I
living
wouldn't say you're too good
frugally.
at that, Brett.
Huh?
I
You
wouldn't
you
say
w-
you're too good at that.
I'm not good at it. I saved 60% of my income last year.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll shut up. Never mind.
um that was just me getting started, like.
Good
So
job, Brett.
I
Proud of you.
definitely did not, for a long time, I did not live
Yeah.
very frugally or manage my money the best. So that's why it's been a journey over the past year. But best way
Hmm.
to do it, especially in your 20s, is the best time to live like you're broke, because it just looks weird when you're 50 and buying microwave dinners and trying to save a few extra bucks and living at home with your
That's true.
parents.
That's
So it's a
very
lot
true.
better. It's a lot better to do it when you're in your 20s than when you're
Yeah.
younger. Because the more money you save now, the larger of an impact it's going to have down the road. Just because of like compound interest in the market and whatever else.
Hmm.
Because your money just snowballs and keeps growing. Um, and not only that, but something that's very important to have is multiple income streams. I gotta admit, I don't necessarily have a lot of that. I guess technically my investments were my other income stream off of dividends, but I never took them in personally to then use and as my own money. I just reinvested all my dividends. But there's been studies done by the IRS that almost 65% of all millionaires have at least three or more sources of income. Um, so if one drops, they're not necessarily in a sinking ship.
Yeah.
I think the best analogy I've seen is like a table. It's like, what's more sturdy, a table with one leg in the middle or a table with four legs supporting it? You can take off one leg and it'll still be standing. So,
That, yeah.
I mean, that's
You're,
kind of like what you were talking about with the side hustles and stuff like
yes.
that. Um,
Building those up is definitely really helpful.
oh yeah, just having different ways to bring in money is always good, which I
Hmm.
think more people should do. I mean, even if it's just a part-time job at times, if you're taking in a few extra $100 a month, depending on what you're doing or how many hours you're working, I mean, that's still more money you can set aside or then invest in your retirement that you did not have previously.
Definitely.
I was gonna say, and then just in general, which is something we both agree on, is staying healthy. I feel like staying
Yeah, that
healthy in general,
actually
just
helps so much.
oh yeah, 100%. I
Because it
just
can even get you, I forget how you do it, but if you do it right, it can get you like cheaper health insurance and
yeah, that
other
down the
types
road
of
definitely.
stuff.
Um, Life insurance, health insurance, it can definitely
Hmm.
have an effect. And then not only that, just clarity of mind. You feel better, you make better decisions if you stay healthy. And so that
Yes.
definitely will always relate and come back to your finances in some way or another. Um,
Hmm.
like going to McDonald's, yeah, it might be cheap, but if you're going to McDonald's every day because you're unhealthy and you spend a lot of money there, um, might
It
not
adds
necessarily be
up.
the best financial decision as if you just went and cooked at home.
Yeah, and even like, because if you go to McDonald's every day, you're going to become unhealthy, and then later down the road, you're going to have more costs because you're
Hmm.
going to have to pay for, I don't know, diabetes.
To pay for
And
diabetes.
I didn't say that. It's late, okay? It's past my bedtime. But no, you'll have a lot of health conditions that won't be the best, and you also won't be the happiest because I mean you're unhealthy. So
Yeah, that's
I
100%
mean,
true.
yeah, it's always good to be healthy and to work on yourself just because it helps mentally and physically. It will help financially. It just will help every aspect of your life, which I'm a
No,
really big believer in.
yeah. I mean, if you are going to spend money financially on anything, if it involves your health and like a gym membership or getting supplements or vitamins or eating healthy, like that's an investment in amongst itself. You're investing in your health down the road, and it's definitely worth
Yes.
it. Like I spend like a certain product I get is Athletic Greens. I drink that every day, and it's about $100 a month, but it's basically a multivitamin and it has a bunch of other stuff in it. And it's like if I'm gonna spend money on something or some sort of subscription, which is technically what it is, because I just get sent it every month, why not spend it on something like that helps my overall health and well-being
Mm-hmm.
instead of I don't know, a bunch of Netflix, a lot of Netflix, because Netflix isn't $100 a month, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get
Like,
you. Yeah, like Athletic Greens is really. I wish I could afford it, um, because it's even just any kind of green supplement like Athletic Greens. I
mm-hmm.
think it's near the top of like some of the best greens you can get. But even any kind of greens you can get your hands on, I think would be super
Oh yeah,
beneficial, even if that's actual vegetables.
true. I mean, personally, it's like I honestly wish I had, and I made more money that I could spend more money on certain supplements, and not even necessarily certain vitamins or certain things, but like certain things from like I've heard some stuff from On It or certain products that just have definitely really good benefits for either your mind
Hmm.
or your overall body. And it's like that would be really good to take, but that's a little pricey. And it's
They
like,
should just give it to us for free.
yeah,
There we
exactly.
go.
You
Yeah,
know,
don't have to
yeah,
work for nothing. Just
everybody
free.
tweet them.
Yes.
Be like, hey, send these young lads some products so they can
Yeah,
use
we
it.
got listeners from the UK, right? We're famous.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, speaking of that, I know this is in the middle and it's kind of a tangent, but I think our last podcast was our most popular in the sense of how quickly people listened to it, and our retention was really, really good. So I
That's
appreciate
awesome.
everybody's support on that podcast, considering
Yes.
it was basically Noah. Noah was that
Yeah,
podcast.
thanks for listening to me. um, talk about myself, which I don't like doing, but I did. I did it.
Hey, it happens, but it works.
I don't
Um,
know why. If
I,
anybody
I
found me interesting, and I don't know why they would, but I hope he did.
I mean, you did forget to boil an egg or how to, so I feel like
I
that's
did.
pretty interesting.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
Just well, you told me that. I don't even know if I had heard that story at the time, but man, that I was just like, that's okay, Noah.
Everyone was
That's
looking at me like I was an idiot. I was
hey,
like,
we
I
all
don't
have
know.
those moments. It
But
happens.
now I'm a very good cook. Out of all my college friends, I would humble brag, but I would have to say I'm probably one of the best cooks. At least with French toast, like breakfast food. I nailed breakfast food. My French toast is famous. Famous.
I've never actually made French toast.
You never, dude. Next time you
Yeah.
come out, I'll have to make you French toast.
All right.
Or
All
if
right.
whenever I come back over there, French toast, man.
Fair enough. I mean,
I make it.
I did make some salmon for the week, so I
Ooh,
got some salmon to eat. Um,
ooh, I haven't had
that's-
salmon in a while.
made some salmon, made some steak, a little bit of everything.
I've just been making eggs and hamburgers. That's all I've been eating.
I mean, hey, that's it's a king's meal right there.
eggs, eggs, hamburgers, and vegetables. That's been and fruit. Lots of fruit
Yep.
and lots of coffee.
But all right, back to the topic.
Oh yeah. Oops.
Hey, it's all right. We got on a tangent, but hey, it happens. But another thing, Roth IRAs. Noah, what do you know about Roth?
I
Can you explain
know
it?
nothing. I know it's no, Roth. It sounds like a name of one of my aunts. That yeah, Roth.
Okay. 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 I'm gonna test you.
That's all I know.
Can you guess what IRA stands for?
International Radical Association.
I mean, I like it, but that's not
Am I
it.
close?
You're
Am I close?
close
Can I
enough.
try
I
again?
Yeah, go for it.
Um,
Remember, it's a retirement account, so think of that.
uh,
Yeah.
um, Iran Retirement Association.
You did get one word right. It's an
The
individual
retirement,
retirement
right?
account. Yeah.
Yeah.
Individual
Oh,
retirement
International
account.
Retirement Association.
I mean, that's better than the Iran Retirement Association.
Oh, wait. Is it International? Wait. Yeah,
I told you.
International Retirement
Y-
Account.
yep, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, bet. Look at me.
Damn, no, it's like you go to college.
I know, dude. College educated.
100%. The homeschool doing you righteous. You knew your
It,
ABCs.
being home teaching, man, it taught me good.
100%.
It was
But
good for my noggin.
I could tell. But so Roth is a retirement account. I guess it's kind of like a retirement account, I guess, compared to like a 401k, except a 401k is a retirement account where it's pre-taxed money. So it's like, oh, you make $50,000 a year and you put 10% of that into a retirement account. So that'd be 5 grand. Technically, when you turn and file your taxes, you only made $45,000 because it automatically went into that account. And the difference between that and a Roth is a Roth IRA is post-taxed money. So when you get your paycheck, taxes have already been taken out. So then that money is what you put in it. So I like Roths
Got it.
because it's pretty cool, because whatever money you put into that, by the time you turn 59 and a half, all the money and profit you make is yours, no taxes.
Ooh,
So
I like Roth too.
yeah. So I
Mm.
mean, I think a typical rate with a typical rate of return, if you invest $1,000 at the age of 18, and you get a typical average rate of return, which is roughly 7% a year, over the
Mm-hmm.
long term, by the time you are 60, that $1,000 is 16 grand. So if you would put
That's
that
not too bad.
if you would put
Not
that
too
into a
shabby.
Roth, all that money is yours. Now with a 401k, you still have to pay taxes when you
Mm-hmm.
take money out, because you never paid it to begin with. So it just kind of depends on when you're getting taxed. And the reason why a Roth is really good for someone that's young in particular is because most of the time you're not making a lot of money in your early teen or late teens, early 20s. So you're already probably the lowest tax bracket you might be ever, hopefully, unless you just don't make a lot of money the rest of your life. But hopefully you're in the lowest tax bracket, so it's better to
Mm-hmm.
take that advantage then, instead of putting it into like a 401k when you're going to
Yeah,
possibly get taxed at a higher rate when you're older.
definitely.
So there's definitely
That
some
sounds good.
strategy to it, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But a Roth is super amazing, and if you set it up right, it is just an account, so it's like in a savings account, but you can pick your own investments. So you can pick specific index funds if you want. You can, some places have completely robo investors, so it's all automatic, and you just put your money into it. But you can basically set up a Roth with about any account, like Vanguard, Fidelity. You can do like any of the main finance institutions and whatever else, basically for free. And most of the time there's not a lot of management fees, and you can just set it up and you can have a retirement account set up within 10 minutes.
Dang, that's good.
It is pretty nice. And that's the thing with compound interest from stuff like that and investing early. If you happen to save $400 a month and invest that into your Roth, which wouldn't even max you out by the end of the year, you would have, by the age of 59 and a half, you would have $1.2 million in your retirement account.
You could buy so much protein powder with that.
Of course, oh, you might need it when you're older, so that's probably not a bad idea.
You need collagen protein powder. Good for your
Exactly.
bones.
It's good for your bones. You got to drink that chicken broth and eat your mustard.
You could just buy a whole chicken farm with that.
You
And
could
then
buy a
you would
chicken
just have
farm.
chicken breasts for days.
Yeah, considering right now it's hard to get chicken.
So, like, let's not even go on to that tangent.
There's a lot of missing chickens out there. I couldn't get my chicken breasts.
Okay. The chicken breast. Dude, you're going to get me started. I remember chicken breast all the time.
I know.
It's so
I
frustrating.
couldn't get any. I just got groceries tonight.
That's why I've had to buy beef. I can't find chicken. I can't. I found chicken breast in cans of chicken breast.
Oh no.
But even those are expensive.
Probably. But so I mean, so when it comes, oh no, we're talking about chicken.
Dude, every time we
No.
bring up food, it's just I can't help it. I love it so much.
You're just like, oh, the damn chicken breast and protein. I need it. I need it.
Food's so good, man.
I thought you just ate. Why are you thinking about food so much?
I'm still so hungry. I don't know why, but I'm so hungry all the time anymore. It
Oh no,
sucks.
no, he can't get over himself. He loves his food.
I love my food, man. I love it. I love it too much.
Oh
Too
no.
much.
But I guess on the topic of retirement accounts and investing, investing early is always worth so much more, because basically if you invest that same $1,000 that we talked about at 18, if you even wait 1 year, that same $1,000, instead of being worth 16,000, it would be worth, I think, 14,900. So just within a year's span of not having your money invested, you technically lose out of $1,100.
Wow.
Like $1
I
from
need to get on
20 to 8, or what? Well, if you invest $1 at the age of 20, when you're 60, it's worth $20, $21, something roughly, at a 7% return.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty cool. That's
Just
why I got
wait till I come
so
around to September.
exactly. That's why I got so interested in
watch out.
investing to begin with. I was like, man, if I invest now, it's going to be worth so much more in the future than if I even invest 10 years from now. So that's why I want to try investing young.
Yeah.
But the good thing
I
about a
wonder how much
Roth,
chicken breast is going to cost.
oh Lord,
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking like, so investing,
yeah,
like this money will pay off like down the road when we're like in our 50s and 60s because it would be so much. But it's like,
yeah.
how much is chicken breast going to cost then?
Well, it won't matter because we'll have all that money.
Not unless chicken breast keeps rising. Then I'll
It
be
just
like, man,
constantly goes up. Where by the time it's like, oh man, I just spent $20,000 getting 3 chicken breasts. Shit. Well, there went my
worth
retirement. Oh, I
One
hope
day's retirement.
I think we'll be okay. I'm gonna knock on wood. Hopefully we're all right, and chicken breasts aren't like $10,000 a pound by the time we're 65.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hopefully count on that. So
Hopefully.
don't worry. That is a bad nightmare you've thought up. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna have that nightmare tonight. I'm just gonna wake up in my sleep, be like, I'll run to the store, try to find chicken. Oh, I can't find chicken breast anywhere. So I'm living a nightmare every day.
Yeah, that's true. Man, you're making me relate to it as well.
I know.
Damn chicken breasts. But okay, so back on to Roths. So
Oh gosh.
so just in general with that, not only that, if you just max out a Roth every year from the age of 18, by the time you are 60, you will have over $2 million in your retirement account. $6,000 a year. That's not a lot of money. Obviously,
No.
depending on how much you make, that can be, but you can do that at a relatively average income. And if you live frugally and only save $6,000 a year and invest it into a retirement account, you can retire a millionaire very easily. And if you actually break down the numbers even more, if you invest only $12 a day from the age of 18 to 60, you can retire a millionaire tax-free.
That is good.
It's pretty cool, huh?
People need to start doing that.
People,
I need to start
young,
doing
everybody invest. It's very important. If you want to be financially independent, it's definitely worth it. Honestly, a book I really liked that I just read this year, which just kind of broke stuff down, especially for retirement in particular, in a different way, is Tony Robbins' book, Money Master the Game. I don't know who's all read it, but it is an amazing book, and he talks to some of the largest hedge fund CEOs that handle literally trillions of dollars of assets and handle a lot of money and make a lot of money. So these people know how to invest your money. So it's something that I've looked into a lot, and I'm even going to change the way I invest a little bit just from reading that book. So I do encourage anybody that is curious and wants to try making some smart decisions in investing to read that, because he definitely got a lot of very useful information from that.
Yeah, I definitely need to check that book out too. Because it does sound like a pretty good read.
It honestly, it really was. I did listen to it in an audiobook form. It was like
Mm.
it was like 26 hours almost. So it was a fairly long audiobook.
Oh, that's
So
a long
it
audiobook.
took me like a week and a half or more to listen through it when I
Yeah.
could, but it was very good. I have a few other books of his that I have not read yet, but will
Mm.
probably be something we talk about in the future. Um,
Sounds good.
but also, I know that a big thing when people think of investing is not being able to access your money in a retirement fund and being penalized. One of the great
Hmm.
things about a Roth is that you will not be penalized if you take out the money you contributed. So if you put $1,000 in that year, and if you make money by the next year, but for some reason you need that $1,000 back, you can take that out. As long as you don't take out your profits, you'll have no issues. Now, if you take out your profits before the age of 59 and a half, I think it's like a 10% penalty on all that money.
God.
So, I mean, it is nice, but the thing is, if you pull it out, you can't just put it back in either. You can only ever
Mm.
put 6 grand in a year. So, if for some reason down the road you pull out $20,000 to your contributions, you can't just slide it back into that account. So,
Mm.
something you need to keep in mind. But it is a nice little thing that you can kind of use as a safety net if need be, and you
Definitely.
won't
Sounds like it.
necessarily be penalized.
Hmm.
And in general, something I've considered is early retirement, uh, which is pretty cool to think about. I think with me, I don't want to necessarily retire early in the sense of being 65 and not necessarily having anything to do when I retire. I think my thing is I want to be able to make enough money off of my investments that I don't have to worry about working a job I don't like, and I can just kind
Yes.
of live free. I guess financial independence.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, having enough money to do whatever you want.
My
Like,
essentials are paid for. I don't got to worry about just living day to day pretty much. Like I don't got to worry about
hmm,
making money for bills. And so a
yeah.
thing that is something to definitely look into. There's a definitely a, I guess not a cult following, but there is a community around this. It's called the FIRE movement, which stands for Financially Independent Retired Early. So it is a
Mm.
community of people who drive or dive into analytics of exactly what you'll need to do to retire early. So it's kind of like if you ever see the videos on YouTube of like people that live really frugally. I've seen videos of people that wash their, what is it? I've seen people wash or reuse their toilet paper, or like they'll wash the same stuff and use it over and over again just to save a few dollars. And
Oh,
technically they are retired and they only make so much a year, but because they spend so little, they don't have to work.
huh.
So they've retired very young. So you can do
That's
that
crazy.
fairly early. The only thing is you gotta, like we talked about earlier, if you live frugal and you save and invest most of your money, you can figure out how much it takes for you to live off of it and figure out the number you need to hit to be able to retire off of it. So like I would say the go-to savings percentage that people always say is 10%. And 10% is a good baseline for people to save of their income every year. But honestly, that's pretty low because if you save 10%, it will take you 51 years of working until you hit retirement at that saving rate.
Dang,
So
that's crazy.
if you just bump up your savings rate over time, even, which is something that Tony Robbins talks about, like with raises, if you then, instead of taking that raise and spending more money, if you take that raise and then just immediately invest it and keep the same technical pay, but all that money goes into investing, that's an easy way to then grow the amount you save and invest over time. But like if
Mm.
you're able to save, like let's say instead of 10%, you're able to save like 50 or 60% of your income for 17 years for 50%, you can retire in 17 years. So, and then if you get to 60% of your income being saved yearly, it'll only take you 12 and a half years before you have enough to live the same lifestyle you are living now. So basically, what we were just talking about with financial independence, where the amount of money you're making is what you would make off of your investments.
Yeah.
So there's ways to do it. I don't have all the numbers or the ways, or the calculations, but it's something that anyone can necessarily do if they look into it. And you can take that and basically take the amount of money you spend every year and the amount of money you need to survive, and I think multiply it by 33. And I think that might be the amount you need to have invested to live off of. I don't know if that's the exact calculation, so don't take my words for it. Like, look into it yourself. But if you're going to use any information to hopefully learn more, a few people I recommend to possibly watch on YouTube is Graham Stephan or Andrei Jikh. Those are definitely two people I have learned a lot of my financial investment information from. Not only that, the Tony Robbins books and stuff like that. It's always good to get different perspectives because some people might know about other stuff. So it's definitely something anybody needs to look into. 'Cause finances is probably the thing people throughout life probably stress about almost the most, just on trying to survive and make money and wanting to just kind of live how they want. And the best way to do that is to figure out your finances. So if you sort it out young, you can probably retire early.
Yeah, which is something really nice to do because it gives you so much free time and so much freedom to do what you want.
Exactly.
And,
I saw a video of someone that's made millions of dollars and retired very young, and just for fun, he got a job at Amazon just to see what it was like. He didn't need to. I think he worked like 6 shifts, and that was it. just to kind of do it, just to see what the hell what it's about. So just being able to basically do whatever you want. I think that's everybody's goal in life at one point or another.
Definitely.
I mean, it might be just wanting to hang out with family or travel, but you can do all that if you invest and save and get what you need to.
Work really, really, really freaking hard. For 3 to 10 years.
3 to 10?
3
that's
to 10.
It? Oh,
that's it.
Wow.
No, that's the number.
That's the number. That's
the number to. If you do it right and you work really, really hard, you can be successful in 3 to 10 years.
Oh, well, yeah, if you focus on what you're doing, that can 100%.
Yeah.
That's a good way to base it off of, because it takes time for you to get good at anything. That's why this podcast is just hopefully going to get better and better over time as we learn and adjust and find better ways to do stuff. But that's definitely true in everything. Yes.
Well, yeah, where can we find the podcast? Like, I think we talked about everything.
Yeah, I think we hit all the points we wanted to. No, I think we're basically wrapping up and we're to the end of it. But I just want to let everybody know that some of our stuff on Anchor has finally gone through, so everything is now available on all those other sites. So we are on Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, Radio Republic, I think is what it's called, and several others. So you can find us on a bunch of different apps and options, and we're on Audible. In general, we do have a YouTube channel, so if you want, go subscribe. We're going to be posting the YouTube video for we're going to post the full podcast on there as well when we do post just the regular podcast. And every day we're going to try having some video clip posted. So if you guys want to see bits and pieces of the podcast, you can go on there and watch them there. So we're going to try having a video out every single day. Not only that, check out our Instagram and subscribe. I think we're going to try posting and doing more there. But I appreciate you, everybody, because it technically is our month anniversary. I don't know what you want to consider it.
It's our anniversary.
I
didn't get you a gift.
I guess so. I didn't either. I didn't think about it at the time. I just knew it was our. I just know it was our 4th week.
Next week.
Oh, really? Oh,
Oh yeah,
that'd be sweet.
just for your birthday, which I
But
won't forget.
all right, no, I'm gonna let you go for it, and I'm gonna have you sign us off. You do what you need to.
Do what I need. Well, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Um, you can find us on Instagram at Barbells and Trails podcast. Wait, yeah, Barbells and Trails podcast. Um, please like and subscribe. Let us know what you guys like, what you dislike. Um, and yeah, I hope you all guys have a great rest of your night, day, afternoon, morning, whenever you're listening to this. And yeah, see you guys next time.
See you guys. Peace out.